was left with a great impression. It looked like something I want to play. And if it's coming out this year, and if it's exclusive to the PS5, you can't get it on the PS4. That's a system seller probably. That's something that's going to help motivate people to be, I'm picking this up for holiday 2020.
Welcome back, everybody, to Beers and Boss Battles for our first real episode where me and Rob are actually together and doing this the way a podcast should be done. We're not doing an episode today, really. It's more of our coverage on the PS5 event that just came out 2 days ago, and we're going to be going over some of the titles that they dropped and what we thought of the specs, the design of the system, everything. Before we even get into that, we just want to tell you now, we're going to be doing a giveaway. So it's going to be very reasonable. We're looking to get to 100 subscribers. So if you subscribe to our channel and you go underneath this video and you leave a comment, now anywhere in that comment, you can use the word controller. That will get you in. So when
you got to sub and leave a comment that says controller.
Yeah, at somewhere in it. You could say, I hate the system so much, it sucks, controller. And that's fine. Yeah, that works. Yeah. And actually, as a matter of fact, speaking of, we're wearing the gear. We came very prepared today. So we're wearing the PlayStation gear. We are going to be doing that. So like I said, once we hit 100 subscribers, anybody in that list will be keeping track. We're going to be picking at random. Hopefully you get that controller. Now, as the important stuff needs to happen, we're going to talk about the beer.
Oh, man.
And we actually have the same beer today. So it's not much variety.
Together in person.
But yeah, so it was you know, it was one of those things where like, we'll wear the same shirt, we'll drink the same beer, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hat and I have glasses, so that's different, but everything else is the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, we were drinking other beer earlier as well, but right now we'll talk about the one we're drinking right this second. So it's a Bell's official hazy India Pale Ale. So it's an IPA. I've never had this before. This is made. Where is this made?
I don't know. I don't know if it lists it. Oh. It says Puerto Rico, do not litter. So I don't know.
Okay, so we're not sure where it's made.
But I can give you a little something. We have on the bottom here, it says pungent American hops combined with wheat and Pilsen. Pungent. That's a strong.
These are the words I want to hear.
That's a strong. Yeah, that's the
pungent.
Combined with wheat and Pilsen malt, result in a smooth, aromatic, juicy IPA. So. I haven't broken mine open.
Oh, he didn't taste it yet. See, I've been drinking. I'm probably already halfway through mine right now.
Finito. Perfect. That's really good, actually. That's not as hazy as I thought, though. That's like
it's got a little sweetness to it, right?
It actually is. Yeah, it's kind of sweet.
A little more sweet, but it's smooth.
No, it's good. It is good. Yeah, for sure. It's really good.
I don't know what the alcohol content.
I think it's. It said it right there. It was 6.4.
Wow, so that's
ABV.
That's not low. It's a decent amount.
No, that's actually really good. And nice thing is it's not, we're not drinking out of like a pint can, so it's cool because
it's a little can.
You get a little punch, big things come in small packages.
Oh yeah.
Official.
There she is.
Officially official.
If you're interested, yeah, I saw it on a whim at the store and I picked it up and it's pretty good. Real quick, so this is the beer. Oh, you still got a little bit in here.
Oh, do I actually? Wow.
You do. Stone Tropic Thunder Lager. This is another one I picked up today. What did you think about this one?
That one was good. I think it was a little too tropical for me.
Maybe.
For the lager. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking for something else out of a lager usually, and that's probably why. It wasn't bad. It was definitely good. I don't know. Yeah. For me, I think if I was going to go lager, I might do something a little bit heavier. I felt like it was.
So Mainstay, Citra, Mosaic, along with newcomer Cashmere hops, are joined by their juicy tropical and phone calls. I'm a popular man. Tropical aromas of citrus, pineapple, coconut. I didn't taste coconut.
I didn't taste coconut either.
Maybe if I have another one, I'll look out for that. Yeah, kind of interesting. But hey, man,
cool.
Anybody into this? Let us know.
Very great can design. Yeah, leave some comments below. It doesn't have to be just for the controller. If you guys want to just leave some hate on the bottom, that's cool too.
What if you're just one of those Xbox fanboys who even me, if anybody has watched any of the upper episodes, you kind of know I'm more of an Xbox Nintendo dude. I love PlayStation, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of a little bit. But if you're one of those hardcore Xbox dudes and you hate PlayStation, leave that in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. I mean, it doesn't matter to us.
Talk crap about these shirts,
We
man.
do play it all. So I guess the first thing that we could talk about regarding the PS5 event that they had was one of the first games they put out was GTA 5. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's had its time. And I don't think it really deserved a spot. I don't know. So that's just me, but
Yeah.
I don't know. GTA 5 was good for, the first 4 years maybe that it was out, and then
that's a nice
being
lifespan
generous.
for a game.
Yeah, I
4
think that's being
years.
generous.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, what's really funny. So, GTA 5 was a 360 PS3, and it was not even a PC game until years later. I want to say that it's kind of recent in the last few years, maybe, where they made a port for the PC. So this is a 360 game, PS3 game that was ported to the Xbox One, ported to the PS4. And I think one of the selling points was the first-person mode that they added in. If I'm remembering back at the time, that was one of the selling points of this game. And I think we all know and love this game. I think it's a good game. But to open up your event with, okay, GTA 5 again for how long has the game been out? 10 years at this point?
So long, yeah.
Okay, well, okay, cool. But I feel like that was kind of a weak way to open up the event.
I agree. I think especially too, because it's not a first party title. We're talking about a game that's available on pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's available on 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox One,
PC, and you can get crazy mods for it on the PC. There's a bunch of streamers that are playing it on the PC with insane mods on it, running it on crazy machines.
But that's why I feel like it's almost kind of like counterintuitive. Like you're trying to market your system, and like you said, this is the first thing they're coming out with. They're just saying
you're out of the gate with that.
Here's a game that you'll probably have a better experience on with the PC.
Yeah.
That was kind of
here's another. So I wrote notes as I watched the event. I wrote notes with terrible handwriting, by the way. I'll give you a quick glimpse. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but look how bad that looks. But so I wrote here that it's coming out in 2021. So it's not even a launch title. Like this is coming out at some point next year. It's like, okay, all right.
I mean, unless they make some really major changes, and I mean, I guess anything's possible. I just don't know. I don't know.
How about the next Grand Theft Auto? I mean, Red Dead Redemption came out, about 2 years ago. It was an amazing game. I still need to beat it. I'm one of those guys who, I probably put 80 hours into it, and I haven't beaten it. I need to beat it. But where's the next one? I mean, it's been 8-10 years. Someone tell me in the comments. I'm sure you guys know. It's been a long time since we've seen Grand Theft Auto. How about give us a new Grand Theft Auto? That would have been a crazy way to open up.
Yeah, but even just tease and say, hey, we're working on it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But okay, wait, a 10-year-old game, and it's coming next year. That's how you open your show? I don't know.
Definitely a questionable call there. I mean, I think there could have been, especially because they had so many good titles. They blew me away with a lot of what they had to offer.
Yeah, so before you Sony boys get all angry and upset, like, oh, you guys are being really tough on them. Wait, well, we just started off because this is what they started the show off, and we're talking about it. We have very good impressions of the event
and
overall.
We're wearing PlayStation shirts.
Yeah, so that counts. Look, Japan 1994. Right?
Yeah, so we're one of the we're on your side. It's just that we're looking at this in an objective sense. We're like, it's like, what would you do if you were in that position? If you were able to?
It was kind of a roll your eyes moment, in my opinion, to open up the show. But they redeemed themselves. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Without giving everything away. So the next thing that they spoke about that they showed off was Spider-Man. So it's Miles Morales. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, or Morals. I don't know. You tell me.
I think it's
Morales is what I thought. So that's coming out this year. So that's how you should have opened up your show.
Yep.
That was the way to open up the event. So 2020, it's coming this year. Brand new Spider-Man game. They didn't specify that it is only for the PS5. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is this going to also be on the PS4, maybe a lower quality version? Maybe not. Maybe it'll be exclusive, but I don't think they specified that it was exclusive.
I don't think so either. And then my thing is this, though. Like you said, I mean, that Spider-Man was such a good game for them. Like that.
Everybody loved it. Everyone was blown away by it.
And the movie Into the Spider-Verse, which is Miles Morales' pretty much debut, that was an amazing movie too. Everybody loved that movie.
I love that. I think that's the best Spider-Man movie probably ever made.
Yeah, more or less.
Literally, that was the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
I'll be fair to
Spider-Man 1.
Tobey
Maguire.
I am a Tobey Maguire guy, but I will say, as far as I went into that and I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about the animation, the art style. Like, how's that really going to look?
Yeah, I was skeptical.
Yeah, so
but when I left that movie, I was like, that was awesome. That was amazing.
They did a phenomenal job.
I loved it.
And a lot of the soundtrack too, I think they did a good job with. I'm not going to draw on about it too long.
We have a lot to cover here.
We do have a lot to cover. I just wanted to really kind of put it out there that I felt like was such a strong suited thing in your possession. Having such a, you're coming off of the movie, which was released, in terms of movies and that kind of thing. It's relatively new. I mean, it's got some time on it, but it's still, it's really a timeless movie. You could watch it 5 years down the line. It's still successful. It's still good. So I feel like if you have that kind of momentum, and especially now you're also taking into consideration how good the Spider-Man game was, the one that they dropped for PS4.
Everybody loved that.
You could really, that's such a strong dynamic to really start the presentation with. I don't think that they did a good job at doing that because of the GTA 5 thing. I think that kind of was a little bit.
I mean, let's see. At the end of the day, it's not as important. I mean, I think probably how you end the show is probably more important. So maybe we're making a bigger deal of it than we need to, but that was a weak way to open it. But Spider-Man Miles Morales, that looked awesome. I would have reversed that maybe opened with that.
Well, let me ask you this. What did you think of
the Kid Cudi song in the trailer? Actually, I think it's a Jaden Smith song featuring Kid Cudi, but I like Kid Cudi. And that song was awesome in that little teaser trailer. It was great.
Well, so what did you think about what you saw?
I mean, honestly, because it's a teaser, they didn't really show very much. I mean, it looked great.
What was your impression, I guess?
My impression was the graphics looked cool. It looked like a cool character, cool themes. The way they integrated the music into kind of the combat and the flow of the movement. Again, it's a teaser trailer. They're not showing off an insane amount of stuff there, but I was left with a great impression. It looked like something I want to play. And if it's coming out this year, and if it's exclusive to the PS5, you can't get it on the PS4. That's a system seller probably. That's something that's going to help motivate people to be, I'm picking this up for holiday 2020.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's true. And what do we have next on our list? We have Gran Turismo
7.
Yeah.
So, Gran Turismo, I don't know. All you big PlayStation fans probably know. When was the last one? I almost want to say, was it for the PS3? Like, has there been a Gran Turismo for the PS4?
I want to say there has. I think there has.
Maybe there has, but I mean, I feel like Gran Turismo, ever since Forza came out, Forza kind of, and I mean, attack me if you get upset about this, but I feel like Forza kind of took the forefront. All the reviewers got behind it, and that sim racer, Forza kind of took over and put Gran Turismo in the dust. And Gran Turismo, I mean, it really has not been what it used to be.
No, not because of Forza Horizons.
And Horizons, that's totally different. Horizons is like an open world. It's kind of a sim racer.
Yeah, but I mean, you still simulate the race aspect. It's a little bit more open world, but still nonetheless.
The really nice cars, the lighting.
I think they did a good job, and I think that's another I mean, it's like you said, and I think it was on episode 10 or it was earlier on. You had said a lot of these games aim to expand on their next titles. Like they usually try to incorporate some level of open worldness to open things up for people a little bit. So I think it's not a bad idea. And I played Forza Horizons and I really love that game. Jack had it. We actually had the ability to have this little steering wheel and
he told me about that,
and it was a lot of fun. I'll say that, But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think right now is at the forefront. So maybe, this could be an opportunity for them to kind of, take the reins back. So.
Well, I will say, so I got a couple little notes here. So it looked like there might be a weather system in there because I saw they were showing kind of clouds, a bunch of cloudiness, and then it was going to daylight and sunshine. The clouds were, so maybe there'll be a weather system and a day and night system. I don't think they're going the Horizon route where it's going to be open world. It still seems like they're sticking with that sim racer, which I think is honestly, that's probably a good move. But it would be cool to see someone come back, especially someone like Gran Turismo. I mean, they're the ones who kicked off the sim racer. I mean, they're the godfather of the sim racer. So maybe Forza has been kicking their butt for all this time, for probably over 10 years at this point. But maybe Gran Turismo 7, maybe they'll come out the gate and they'll actually compete with Forza again. And I think Forza probably could use that competition. So that would be cool.
Yeah. No, for sure. And so now I'll say this. I think a lot of the titles I saw, I felt like, I mean, some of the graphics and the aesthetic things were really mind-blowing. I was like, wow, these are insane graphics. And I think
some of them, though, I was like, that's not that much of an upgrade.
Well, that's what I was
that looks
say.
like a PS4
That's what
game.
I was going to say. I felt like certain titles, I'm not going to put Gran Turismo there.
I think you could put it there, but maybe that's because it's a stream that we were watching a live event, and then I wanted to rewatch it, so we watched a playback of the live event. So maybe that's a factor.
Maybe,
but it kind of looked like maybe that could be a PS4 game.
Well, that's kind of where I was a little thrown off because I feel like looking at that. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't group it there because there was, I think, other things where when I saw them, I was like, oh, immediately, I was like, that could have been on a PS4. That could have been on an Xbox
Yeah,
One.
there was a couple of times throughout the event where
there wasn't a huge graphic jump where like it was like leaps and bounds in terms of what they accomplished. Just in that sense. So I think, not to say it was as much of a letdown, but I will say I think graphic-wise it could improve a little bit more. It's also very hard though, because with a lot of those sim racers, the graphics have been so detailed and so defined. It's actually hard to make a step up. You know what I mean?
They've been so photorealistic for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, but here's one thing I will say though. I'm assuming the PS5 is going to have 4K right out the gate. So someone like me who has a Slim that doesn't really have the true 4K resolution, it'll be nice for people to hop in there and they immediately get that 4K.
Yeah.
So that'll probably make a big difference. But I'm glad that they're bringing Gran Turismo back. I hope that it can be a competitor to Forza again. And Forza Motorsports, let's take Horizon out of the equation because it's kind of something different. But Forza Motorsport versus Gran Turismo, I want to see that again. I want them to go head-to-head every year. Maybe one's better than the other every year. I feel like that would be a great place to see. Competition really makes better quality in everything. So I would be happy to see that.
No, for sure. I like I said, I mean, I think besides the graphics, I think that they did a good job of presenting it. I think, like you said, I mean, seeing a company that's kind of been drowned out for obvious reasons for as long as they have. I think for them to have a title, especially now this is the launch of their new system. So to be like, hey, we're coming out with a new system, but we're also going to come out with a new installment of this game. I think that could be awesome for them. And especially because a lot of those core Sony fans that have been with the system for as long as they have, I mean, myself and you included, having something like that, I think would be awesome.
I think that's key to kind of what this event was about, is the core Sony fans. So they were letting you know, you're an original Sony fan. Look, Gran Turismo's back.
Yep.
And again, as the event goes on, they give more nods to original PlayStation fans as well. Actually, that's probably a good segue into our next game.
Yep.
So we had Ratchet and Clank. Let me look. It was, what was it called?
It was called Rift Apart, right?
Rift Apart. Yeah, Rift Apart.
Yep.
So pretty much it opens up. Graphics look great, colorful, kind of like the Ratchet and Clank that we know and love. And what you can kind of see through the gameplay was like interdimensional things happening. In the little teaser that they opened with, he's going through all these different planets, different areas, and then they end the teaser where Ratchet looks like he's a girl. And Clank is like, whoa, like all surprised by it. And then after that, they showed us some gameplay where you see, the normal Ratchet, but it looked like there was kind of portal guns and teleporting guns and all these crazy weapons that, Insomniac are known as developers for coming up with crazy weapons and crazy designs for their weapons and their so that is what we saw, and they delivered on it. And one thing that I wrote here in my notes is that there was a bunch of NPCs running around. So that's something we're kind of not used to seeing in Ratchet and Clank. Like in this one area, it was like a city, and there were literally like dozens of other characters, non-playable characters, running around, and they were scared and they were reacting to what was going on around them.
Yeah, it usually doesn't happen.
Yeah, you haven't seen that in Ratchet and Clank. So it was kind of cool to see that, because the game has always looked beautiful and colorful and high definition, and it's always looked great. But now they're kind of doing something a little different. You have other characters running around and they're scared and they're freaking out. So I thought that was pretty cool that they added that in on top of all the other cool weapons that we're used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think, and also too, just touching back on the graphics, I think that was a game. I mean, like I said, that was one of those games where I looked at that and I was like, wow, they stepped it up again. I thought they did an amazing job with. I know you started playing recently that Ratchet and Clank, like HD remake of the original, and I gotta tell you, playing that on the PS4, I mean, especially like if you had got it when it first came out, there's no way you can look at that game and be like, oh, those graphics aren't impressive. They are. They're very good. And then, I'm playing it like 4 or 5 years after it came out. Yep. And it still holds up. And it still looks nice. Yeah. And I think for them to now even, as good of a job as they've done and as well as they've done with the graphics and the system, to be able to be like, oh, well, in the next, our next console, we're dropping this yet again, another core Sony game, and being like, we just did an even better job with the graphics. So now it's going to be that much more impressive when you get to play it for yourself. I mean, personally, for me, I love the Ratchet and Clank series. I haven't given it enough love, I think, in comparison to like maybe some of my other friends, people that have played it. Yeah. I did get
I know Son, he loves it, right?
Yeah, so Son is
Son's a big fan.
He's a huge Ratchet and Clank fan. He's played, I want to say every game that's come out. And, he was actually the first person to put me on. The first Ratchet and Clank game I played, and I mean, technically not the only one, but the one that I probably invested any kind of serious time into was that HD remake of the first one. And I can tell you, like, that it got me. Like, it's just such a.
I think I'm gonna beat it. I don't know. I think I was talking to Sanjay. I think I might be a little over halfway done. So I think I'm gonna play through that one and beat it.
Yeah,
it's
and
really
then but that's the thing is, like, that's the kind of game you don't have. It's not like you feel compelled to carve out a huge amount of time to play it. You're gonna have fun even if you're spending 10 minutes or maybe an hour on it. It's just a really good game, and I think that's part of the design of that kind of game. And Insomniac's done such a great job with that. They make the kind of game where, you know, and I'll say this, in certain titles, you feel like going and you're like, dude, if I don't have like at least an hour to play, is it worth it? Whereas with like Ratchet and Clank, because it's just such a good storyline based game, you could hop in for really any capacity of time and be like, I'm having a great time. And it really start to finish is exciting. And I think what's nice too is they've done a very good job at finding a middle ground between challenging but yet exciting and fun. It's not
accessible but challenging too. Because I will say, I mean, when I was playing the game early on, I was like, this is kind of easy, but it gets tougher, man. It definitely gets tougher as you play. So they have a good balance.
And I like there's puzzles involved, similar to like a lot of those other platform style games. But yeah, I mean, and that's a title. I think, you know, out of the gate, a lot of people are, you know, they're gonna have really good reception. A lot of people are gonna respond well to it, just based on what they had to show. Like I said, the graphics are great. And if we know anything about Ratchet and Clank, it's that they always have a bomb storyline. What I also really like is, you know, kind of like what you had brought up with having the rifts, the portals, and stuff like that. What's really cool about that is that actually makes it more optional for the game in which direction it chooses to go. And what I mean by that is this: usually in a game, if you follow like a certain fabric of storyline, right? You know, if you're in medieval times throughout the course of the game, well, it's harder to make a transition into anything else. You're in medieval times, so you have to kind of abide by that structure. Whereas when you kind of like go like interdimensional with your game, anything's possible. So you really could have
it opens up a lot of like story possibilities.
Yes, and that's what I mean. Like, there's a plethora of different directions you could go, and I think that for a game that is so storyline based, to create more and more optionality makes the game better. You know?
Yeah, but I thought it looked really good. And if anybody's watched any previous episodes, we've talked about the whole: are you getting the Series X, or are you getting the PS5? And okay, these are the specs of the Series X. This is the specs of the PS5. And we kind of always come down. I don't want to run on long with this, but kind of comes down to Sony's in a spot where you only get those games on Sony. You're not getting them on the PC. Xbox especially recently, you can get a lot of these exclusives, if not all of them, on the PC. So if you're already a PC gamer, you kind of had no reason to buy an Xbox, where I think Sony's done a great job of, like, not only do they have great exclusives, but it's kind of like, maybe I'm fine with just sticking with Sony. I don't even have to get a PC. Whereas with Xbox, you're kind of in this weird spot. And I'm saying this as an Xbox guy, as someone who's usually more of an Xbox fan. But I think Sony's doing a great job with that. And I think Ratchet and Clank looks like a game. I have notes here, but I maybe they didn't put what year it's coming out. So I'm going to assume it's going to be probably next year, maybe the year after. But it is a system seller. This is a game that, if you're a fan of it, you're looking at this and you're like, yeah, I'm going to pick up a PS5, man. New Ratchet and Clank. It looks freaking awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about, I mean, all those titles are really good.
Yeah. So for our next game, so again, we're kind of going in the order of the event. So it was called Project Athea. So I don't actually have a lot written here because I was trying to write notes as I was doing it. So I wrote great environments, gameplay, running, and jumping. So I think this was a game where it looked like she was kind of in the woods, and there might have been some magic and jumping around, and I think it was pretty brief. There wasn't a lot there for me to kind of pull away from it. But I don't know. Let us know what you think about it. What do you think? It looked awesome?
Yeah, that's a game we'll maybe leave up for you guys to decide. I mean,
yeah, I didn't write a ton here. I was trying to take notes as the event was going on, but yeah, let us know what you think of it. One thing I did note here is a female lead. So that was kind of something we saw throughout the event, is there's definitely a lot of games that have a female lead, which I think is awesome.
Yep.
I think it's a lot more respectable when you have a game where it's a brand new IP, and whether it's a guy, a girl, whatever it is, that's the character. And I think sometimes trying to take an existing IP and swap the character completely kind of throws people off and kind of bums people out a little bit.
Well,
But
also,
I think it's cool to see brand new IPs with female leads. I think that's awesome. I
was gonna say too. I mean, like even if you're going from this is the main protagonist of the story of your game, and then even if it's a girl, let's say, and then in the next title it's another girl, but it's someone else, it does take away. I think, and I found that for myself in a lot of games where you're like, well, I want to play as that character. That was why I like the game so much as that character. I identified a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter if you're going gender to gender or whatever. It's just or whatever. It just matters that like you remain consistent in the character, their role. You know, like Metal Gear Solid has always followed that. Zelda has done that in a way. I mean, obviously every Link is a different Link, but there's still Link. So, you know, even expanding a little bit in that way.
There's kind of a fine line there, I would say. It's like kind of like Tomb Raider. Like if you just all of a sudden you made a new Tomb Raider and it's a dude, it's a dude. I mean, I guess you could do that. There's nothing like objectively wrong with that. But it kind of like if your fan base feels like you're doing it for the wrong motives and you're doing it for an ulterior motive instead of an actual like gameplay or story motive, that it's going to rub people the wrong way. So I'm very happy to see new IPs coming out and doing whatever they want. I think that's awesome. So I'm happy to see that. So let's move on to the next one. So we have this game was called Stray. So it's coming out in 2021. So it's coming out next year. And it looked like it was kind of set in like a Blade Runner-esque aesthetic, kind of like a sci-fi, futuristic, kind of Japanese style. And what was kind of interesting about it was that there's all these robotic characters and they have like these monitor faces, kind of like an 80s monitor where it's very pixelated. It kind of like their head was like a big old TV, projection monitor.
Yeah.
Which was cool. And then they kind of end the trailer with like a stray cat. And the game is called Stray. So the only thing I could be led to believe is that you're playing as a stray cat in this world. Whatever's going on, like almost like humans are extinct and maybe robots took over, but there's still organic life. There's still stray cats running around, and I don't know what the gameplay element. It's kind of like a teaser trailer, but
it could definitely be that for sure. I mean, I think the cool thing too is a lot of what we saw in the presentation was that they were really expanding on what was possible or what was acceptable or practical. You know, I mean, for a long times in games, you know, following certain trends or certain themes. It helps the game to kind of establish itself where I feel like now, and it really could be due to the fact that the gaming market is as saturated as it is, but I would say that like now, you know, you're seeing a lot of these titles that they're coming to the forefront and saying like, these are titles we're proud of. These are the titles we want to present.
Yeah.
And you're seeing just such a wide array of different things.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a shooter. It doesn't have to be a Grand Theft Auto. It doesn't have to be an open world game, doesn't have to be an open world game. It could be a weird indie sci-fi side scroller platformer. It could be and we saw a lot of that in this event.
Yeah, and I think that's cool because I think for you know, for PlayStation, you know, not painting itself into a certain identity as far as the kind of games that they provide is cool. Because I mean, I'll say this, like you know, when I think of certain companies, Xbox, Nintendo, I think of certain titles, and I think that's true for every console, every system, especially even in like eras of time. You know, like think about the '90s, certain games that popped out, and we've talked a ton about that, especially with like the Nintendo 64. But I think of, you know, when I talk about Xbox, I talk about PS4. Like I think Spider-Man when I think PS4. I you know, and I think when I think about God of War, and I think of, you know, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, or any of those, Sly Cooper. That's a throwback, you know, but. It's just a lot of that identification, and I think putting out such good titles, you know, GTA 5 excluded. I'm sorry, but I'm not on that boat. But all these good titles coming out, but they're so different from one another. It was so cool to see, and being like you said, you don't have to identify yourself as kind of anything as a game. It's kind of just like, we'll tease enough where you can kind of get an idea, but this game is like almost open for interpretation. You know,
at this point, I mean, maybe. Let me spit everywhere. But I mean, maybe, you know, as the game is closer to release, we're going to get a better idea of what it is. But it's cool for them to kind of take a chance and be experimental. I think we love to see companies do that, where they're not going to go for that super stereotypical safe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
And they're kind of like, we'll try a game where you're playing as a cat. In a Blade Runner robot world.
But you still have games like Gran Turismo. You still have games like Ratchet and Clank that made that appearance. But it's like you said, just you have some, openness, some options. So
and I think they
cool.
did a really good job at conveying that message. You felt that throughout the event. So the next thing they had a little bit kind of explaining what the system can do. So it's got 4K Ultra Blu-ray, ultra high-speed SSD. So the hard drive is supposed to be very fast. Adaptive triggers, the motion sensing, which I think the PS4 has as well. So it's kind of carrying that over. And then 3D audio, which I think they technically have that too, but they showed that off. And then actually at the end of the event, they showed off their own headphones, which we'll get to later. But that was mixed into the event. After that, they went to an exclusive game. It was called Returnal.
Yep.
That was the name of it.
I got to be honest, that game was like, I think out of the whole presentation, that was probably the number one game that I was like, dude, I need to play that. Like, that was just so different, so cool. It was like this like dreamscape type environment where things were constantly changing, but it was like, it was almost multi-dimensional, but you had like, you were following this character who was an astronaut who was like stranded essentially on this planet. And from kind of what we gathered watching that video or that snippet, we were able to kind of see like the planet was affecting her mind, and then that would then excuse me, that then affected the gameplay. So like in one scenario you're like, it's like a normal environment, and then the next it's like this desert wasteland, and then the next you're like in a different time zone.
It almost looked like a thriller. Like, like a thriller movie, kind of like keeps you on the edge of your seat. You don't really know what you're going to see next. It kind of left that impression. Graphics look really good. Another female lead. You're playing as which I thought was cool.
Kind of reminds me though, kind of if you ask me, it's kind of some homage paid to Metroid. Female astronaut,
or Alien maybe.
Alien as well.
Could be, maybe.
But then again, though, if you think about it, yes, because Metroid Prime was paying homage to Alien.
Yeah, so it all comes back to Alien, man. I mean,
that's true. Yeah. No, you're right.
But no, I mean, the graphics, the style, everything looked cool. It made you, it piqued your interest. You were like, I want to see what this is about. This looks cool. One thing I wrote here quick was I got some Death Stranding vibes. I don't know if anybody, leave it in the comments if you've got any of those vibes. Kind of had that kind of mysterious, kind of weird quality to it that I kind of got with Death Stranding, whether you loved it or hated it. But let me know if you agreed. Did you get any of those vibes from that game? All right, so what do we have for our next game?
Oh, so we had Sackboy. Sackboy, A Big Adventure. So, for
interesting name for a title.
A little sus, but okay. So
for people in our demographic, I mean, maybe we might giggle at the name, and maybe if you're a mature individual, that won't roll off. That won't affect you.
You're like,
anyway.
oh, it's a potato sack, but I think it's something completely different.
I mean, I would have went with like Little Big Planet, Big Adventure, or something. But Sackboy, that works.
So that's, I guess, where because the characters
he's a sack boy.
He's a sack boy. He's made out of like a knitted sack, like a yarn sack or whatever. But that actually.
What about Sack Girl though? I mean, why isn't it Sack Girl Big Adventure? I mean, you might.
Oh, I think that would have been a little bit even more sus. But I think looking at this game, I'll be honest. I mean, I had played Little Big Planet. Played the first one. I never really bothered to get into the second one. But I will say, like, it was good. It was definitely good.
I played the first two, and I absolutely loved it. The third one, I think I got later on. I definitely didn't play as much, but let me rattle the whole computer there. But yeah, I played a lot of it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I didn't like it, but I just feel like, I think going into that game, I was really looking forward to the building, like making your own game kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that element, I feel like it was hard to really get into. And then a lot of the premise of that first game was just completing the storyline. And then there was customization and an ability to
And I would say that the story
like,
was a little like, there was nothing that really motivated you to play through the entire game.
That's what I'm saying.
For me, it was more of like, I want to see what the players create, like player-created levels. Those were the ones that you always wanted to look. You look at that top 10 list and like, okay, look, like, shout out to anybody who remembers the shark levels where you'd be swimming and there'd be a shark that would come up randomly and attack you. Me and my buddies had literally like probably weeks of fun, like laughing to the point where we almost like passed out playing that. So we love that. But I think that game really where it shined was the player created levels. But this game, I mean, this looks like this is really kind of
whole new take.
This is kind of like a side-scrolling platformer game is what it looks like. So it'll open up into where it's not side-scrolling. It'll kind of be over the top. But it really looks like it's a story, linear-driven...
Platform-based, type game,
game, which I'm assuming it has co-op. It looked like later on they kind of showed you're playing multiple players.
I think that's
probably
what they were
player.
alluding to when you watch the video, that at one point there's another sack person or whatever, and it's like this girl.
A sack girl.
Yeah, sack girl. And she has like, she's pink. She has like this purple hair. She kind of comes out of nowhere, but then right after the point that she's kind of introduced, they start showing you the gameplay with both Sackboy and Sack Girl. So now and then even later on in the video, you see 4 people playing at the same time. So you can only imagine that's what they're going for. They're going to try to really make this a co-op based game, which I'm all for the couch play, man. If you can have a game where you can bring people together, I've always said that. I'll stick by that, man. Even for a game that, in its history, I haven't been the biggest fan of, I'll still get behind that. I think that's cool.
But no, it looked fun. I mean, I kind of almost like that they're kind of honing in their approach instead of trying to be super broad and like, create your own game within a game and make a piano in the game. It looks like this game is really more just like, this is the story. You play through the story. And it's more linear and more focused, and maybe that'll be a good thing for it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think playing the first one, the problem was that, and maybe it's my own fault for looking forward so much to level building that I really just didn't pay enough attention to the storyline.
I mean,
maybe
people
that's
make calculators in that game.
Yeah. So, but that's where I'm kind of like, I don't mind that. I just feel like when you play a game like even Mario Maker, I'll give a quick shout out to them. A game like that, it's so user-friendly, so easy to jump in. It is all about, character or people-created levels. And I think they did such a good job of making it very user-friendly. It's easy to jump into that game and just kind of make whatever you want and make it make sense. I think with Little Big Planet, there was definitely some fine-tuning that was involved in creating something that aesthetically made sense, but also something that you were proud of and something that you came away with that, made you feel good. So for me, and like I said, that's probably my own fault, but I think that, like you said, this is a more compressed version of what that game I think should have been. I think taking the aspect of the creation out is nice.
Kind of makes it more streamlined.
They also have dreams though too. So for like any of you guys out there that want to get into, game, creating games, creating characters, doing any of that stuff, you just go and you get yourself dreams. Anything is possible in that game. I mean, really, there's...
For anybody who doesn't know, that's a PS4 game,
That's
right?
a PS4 game. Yeah. You can literally create any and every type of game you'd like to see. Like, you can make racing games, you can make platformers, you can make 8-bit, you can do anything in that. I will say, as a disclaimer, kind of going off topic, but, if you do decide to take that venture, it's a lot of time that you need to spend learning how to actually...
The UI.
Everything. I mean, it takes a long time. You have to invest hours and hours and hours to learn how to create the things that you want. But if you can get there, it's a very rewarding experience. So, but yeah, for this game, I think it's like it could potentially be a 10 out of 10 for me, depending on how that gameplay actually looks. But if it's good couch play, bringing people together, I think it's awesome, man.
Yeah, well, no, it's kind of funny. I don't want to segue too long, but we were talking about Minecraft Dungeons, how that would be a perfect game for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I know PlayStation had the Vita, which was pretty well-received system, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, it didn't really catch on or sell super well, but there was definitely a big fan base there. Yeah. Critically, it did pretty well in a lot of ways. I feel like this game would probably be great portably, but I don't think that's really going to happen. I don't think Sony has an interest in releasing a portable console right now. But,
no, I don't think so either. But for the time, I mean, it works.
I feel like that game would be good portable, but probably not going to happen.
I'm actually more excited though now. This the next title we have on the lineup it's called Destruction All Stars. That's what it was called, right? I think. Yeah. So that game was like a Rocket League kind of game. So my interpretation of and what I had seen, they put some gameplay in there, but definitely from some like different camera angles, from more like dev camera angles where they're actually able to monitor like what's happening on the field. I don't think that's just like the angle or the camera that you'd be getting if you were actually playing. But I could tell based on what I had seen, even from like the cutscenes, pretty much what this game is it's like you go into this big arena and you start off, I would figure it's probably anywhere from 8 players to 16. And you go in and you're in these cars and you have to ram through and destroy the other people's cars. Kind of like a monster truck thing, like where you're just like bashing each other up. But then the cool thing about it, it's almost similar to like a Titanfall where like
you get out of your
you get out of the vehicle and there's still things that you can do off like out of that, and you can actually run around the field and still do damage to people's vehicles. And so that was really cool. And I will say the graphics were phenomenal. I thought it was very good. It almost was like kind of like Pixar style, like in terms of like that graphic that they went for, like an Overwatchy kind of Paladins type vibe. That's what I got from it, but it looks really good.
Yeah,
I think it looks really good.
Well, let us know what you think about it. Our next game. Sorry for going too fast, but there's a lot of games here, so we don't want to kill too much time on all these games. So it was Kenna Bridge of Spirits. So the characters look pretty cute, is how I would describe them. There was like these little kind of animals running around in the beginning, and then I almost got Pikmin vibes from this because you see this girl, and she kind of looks like, like a hunter. She's got some, like a spear.
Almost like a Breath of the Wild kind of.
Yeah, kind of that kind of style, that kind of cool look to it. And then there's these like little furry creatures that like maybe a couple dozen of them, maybe even more depending on different points, that are kind of following her around. And then she's using them for different things to accomplish certain goals. I mean, again, this is like a teaser, but based on what we saw, it kind of reminded me of like Pikmin. And
where
that
you're able to control them and execute certain functions depending on how many you had or what they could do, and that also helped you fight. The fighting system looks really good too.
And well, that's what they kind of showed off right after that, was the fighting system, where it looks like a cool kind of in-depth melee system, where you're fighting more traditionally in like a third-person kind of combat type of thing. But it looked very interesting. The graphics look really cool. I think the aspect of having these little minions or whatever you want to call them kind of reminds me of Pikmin. I thought that was interesting. Well, I guess we can kind of see where that goes.
Yeah.
But what did you think? You thought it looked pretty good?
I thought that was another big title for me on that lineup that I was really excited for. It's another example of like really good graphic execution. I think that they went for that, like I said, like a Breath of the Wild kind of vibe in some of the things that they did with the game. But I'll say this too, it definitely had, like you said, those hints of like a Pikmin kind of thing going on. It was weird. It was kind of hard to take away from just based on what you had seen. But I will say, like, I'm very excited for the game. I think, and especially when you saw the combat, what I kind of took away was she has like this like bow staff kind of thing. It's like this. It's almost like a branch, but then it has like, I would say it's more like a staff because it has like some type of magic power where it can turn into a bow, or maybe it uses like a club, or so. I think depending on how they choose to go about the combat can make the game even better. But aesthetically, and especially from what I'd seen with, like you said, just having like these minions and more complex kind of system, I think it looked great. I think it looked really cool.
I thought it looked pretty cool. All right, I think now's a good time for a pee break.
Yeah,
and a beer run.
No,
what do you think, Troy?
I think so.
All right, so we're gonna pick up where we left off. So the next game, pretty weird. We were kind of both looking at each other like, I don't know who this is for, and if it looked interesting to you, good for you. I'm happy for you. Goodbye.
I'm happy for you.
Goodbye, Volcano High. I don't know. Interesting, like kind of dinosaur Pokemon looking, unicorn looking, My Little Pony kind of art style. I don't know, kind of interesting. Couldn't really gather very much from the trailer, but maybe that's something that looks appealing to you. I don't know. And if it does, good for you.
It's stupid.
Wow.
Like
very judgmental over here.
Like that. Like that was probably the most straightforward answer you've ever gotten out of me about a game. I'm not ranting on. I'm just saying,
like that looked pretty bad.
It looked bad.
We're very positive. I think you can admit that if you watch most of these videos. We're pretty. Wow, we just got some like just real talk there.
Real talk.
You thought it looked stupid.
I thought it looked really dumb. But then again, I'll say this. And if you watch that presentation, and hopefully you didn't watch that presentation, you're watching our version of it. And then after this, you can go and watch it. But either way, I think if you saw that, what was it supposed to be? It was literally like a really badly done Flash type video.
What's that game series, My Life is Strange? There's a game series where I don't know what genre it fits in, but it almost had that kind of vibe to it. So maybe it's appealing to that demographic, people that are into that kind of a game.
I don't know what kind of demographic that is, but it looks bad. I'll be honest with you. Looks
some real talk up in here.
Real shit. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on. Hey, if you don't agree, let us know.
Yeah.
It was a new Oddworld game, so we haven't had a new Oddworld game. I think we had a remake like an HD remake, but that doesn't really count. This looks like this is going to be a brand new Oddworld game. It's called Oddworld Soulstorm.
Yeah.
I'm not positive if it's exclusive. I think it's exclusive. I'm not positive. But from everything I saw, it looks like it's a good nod to the original game. It's side-scrolling, kind of opens up into maybe some, over-the-top gameplay as well. But everything I saw, graphic, art style, it's kind of following that theme of, like, these oppressed species that are, working in this factory for these, horrible people, and they're trying to escape. And it looks like it's following that theme, and it looks very interesting. I thought the graphics look really cool. It looks like a really, like, it's going back to the basics, going back to the beginning, which is cool. I was a big fan of Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, which was a first-person shooter for the Xbox, and I think it was on the PC as well. But it was a very unique, cool, where it was like a Western theme, and it was in the Oddworld universe with all these crazy weapons and different types of ammo, and it was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a big departure from the Oddworld that we knew from the original PlayStation. So this looks like it's kind of going back to that, which is I think going to be appealing to a certain group of people. It looks definitely looks interesting, and it'll be cool to see how it pans out as time goes on. So what was the next game we had?
Ghostwire Tokyo. So
Yes.
the feeling that I got watching that, it's cool. I think it could be a lot of fun. Something about watching that video, I was like, I don't know, this could either be really good or really bad. And I usually don't feel that with games. I'm usually not so 50-50, but I feel like with that, it looked good from, it's an FPS. You go around, you're essentially killing ghouls
or demons,
or spirits, and you're you're like essentially like cleansing their soul, or that's kind of like the vibe I got. I don't know. It looks like it. I think the setting is right. I think Tokyo is like just awesome.
The setting looked pretty spot on. I mean, he's been to Tokyo.
Yeah,
look, we got the Japan right here, but he's actually been to Tokyo.
I've been there before, and it's really
it looked pretty spot on.
It did look really spot on, and also another thing is they have these like they're almost like spirit gates, and they're like these little wooden.
Those red.
They're like almost like look like the entry to a
walkway,
to like a pagoda, and they go over over like the course of a walkway, and it's meant to like as like a my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, you go in those comments and tell me I'm an idiot, that's fine, but from my understanding it was like spirits essentially dwelled within that area. That was kind of like the gateway more or less, and they actually used that as one of the elements for the game, and you can see you actually almost ignite the gateway, and you can I don't know if you go through it or what really comes from that. I just saw that that's something that you interact with. I thought that was really cool. I had having been there, I thought that was
It looked like there was two, and I'm assuming this is going to be a gameplay element, but I'm not positive. They showed motorcycles a couple times where you're traveling at a high speed on a motorcycle, and you're in combat with these creatures. So I'm assuming there is some sort of vehicular combat involved.
That would be cool. I'd like that. Yeah, that'd be awesome. What do we have on our next one? We have
I think it was
Jet the Far Shore.
I think that was the name of it. Yeah. So
another game, I'm gonna be honest, I was not impressed by. And I'll say this too, kind of just going back a little bit, with the Oddworld thing. I don't know, man. In both cases, I'll say this. I think that they had potential to be something, but I think the biggest issue that both of those snippets or previews faced was that it was so zoomed out. It's like I'm like, what am I looking at? What's happening? Especially with this game. I mean, excuse me. Official.
Damn.
Official burp.
Damn. I swapped back over to this. Yeah. Give it another taste. Pretty good.
But I felt like it did kind of. There was something to be wanted there. There's something to be had. I think looking at that, I was like, well, I don't even really understand what the objective is of this game. And I think usually with those kinds of things, when I watch them, if it doesn't, there's not at least one element in that trailer that captures me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's hard to get excited.
Yeah. Then I'm like, why am I really? Unless I get some it gets crazy reviews and everybody's like, this is the best game ever. I don't think I'm gonna play it. So.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I have written here is that they had different planets and everything,
and cool, but
and you're flying around. So I'm assuming maybe the gameplay allure that is going to motivate you to want to play this is the exploration aspect and playing in different environments and planets and stuff. I guess we'll see. I mean, I don't have strong good or bad opinions about it right now, but I do agree with you. I think out of all the really impressive games to me, this was a little weaker.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll kind of see. You know, it's a little early to tell. So the next game was called Godfall. So this is made by Gearbox, the same people who make Borderlands. And what I wrote down for my notes is that it kind of reminded me of Vanquish. I don't know if you've ever played that game. It was a very fast-paced Japanese game, inspired kind of with the Gears of War combat system with the cover. Okay. So it kind of had that look to it, where it was very fast-paced and
high velocity action.
Yeah, but it was like a hack and slash kind of
Yep.
fantasy environment.
Yep.
And I'm assuming because it's made by Gearbox that we're probably going to have, you know, the co-op element, and then probably the loot element. I'm assuming.
Yep.
But it looked pretty fun to me. It looked appealing to me.
I think you know what the vibe I got was I kind of got like I know you hadn't played it yet, and that was one of the games I was trying to get you to get was Dauntless. So Dauntless is made by Epic. There's same people who make Fortnite. They have a game. You probably don't know about it, or most people don't because they only play Fortnite if you play any Epic game. But it's actually really good. It's a team-based operation kind of Cuphead style game in the sense that every mission that you go on, that you embark on, is just a boss battle. There's like a little bit of like, you know, ground before that you cover and kind of collect energy and stuff, and then you get into the battle. But it's really more or less, you know, you travel all of like a minute or two, and there's the boss, and you fight them together. And so I kind of got that vibe from it. It also had like a God of War style kind of combat that I thought was cool, like with the camera zooming in and out, and you know, depending on the
pretty
like
fluid
whatever
combat system it looked like.
It did look really good.
Kind of fast paced.
That's a game that I'll say I'm impressed by, but I'm going to keep an open mind too because I think it could be very good depending on.
Yeah, I have an open mind. Nothing, definitely a little more positive than negative, but like just open mind. I don't really know how to feel about it yet. That's kind of where I'm at. So the next game we had was called Solar Ash. So this was a third-person kind of cel-shaded looking game.
Yep.
At one point, you see the character kind of. It almost looks like they're on rollerblades, but they're gliding.
Yeah, it's almost like an ice skating like motion.
Yeah, maybe like Jet Set Future, you know, Jet Set Radio, kind of like that type of vibe in the gameplay department. But there was definitely some portals, going through a portal, landing on the planet. Looked interesting.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, what did you think about it?
I liked it. I actually thought that was that's one of the games I'm most excited for. And surprisingly, as little as we saw from it, I mean, it was a very short trailer.
Yeah.
But I was excited for it. I think there's definitely a lot of potential there based on what even just a little bit that I saw. I was like, wow, it looks very fluid. I like games with very fluid kind of gameplay. And the aesthetic really captured me too. So I think it could be really good, man. I think it'd be awesome. Yeah.
That's cool. So for our next one, they showed off a new Hitman game.
Hitman 3.
Was it Hitman 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then that's what it was. I didn't have it written down here. But pretty much, I mean, like the trailer kind of kicks off. It looks like there is some sort of a soldier or security guard hunting someone in the woods. So they have their flashlight. They're in the woods. Then you can see later on, it looks like probably that guard or whatever got killed. And you see Agent 47 wearing that person's outfit.
Yep.
Which, I mean, if you played any Hitman games, you know that's a big gameplay element is, you know, taking out an enemy, taking his outfit, so now you can pretend to be one of them. Mm-hmm. So they had that right in there.
Yeah, that was cool. But it was a lot of like CGI though. Right?
In that aspect they did.
You didn't. I don't think you saw any gameplay.
I think later on, so they had some Dubai. So there was a level set in Dubai.
But
right after that, right after the teaser, they kind of showed off a little gameplay. But yeah, like you said, it was very brief.
It was like
you couldn't really see much.
You didn't like know like any huge mechanical changes that they would have made to the game. I don't think that it alluded to anything more than just kind of like, we're dropping it. Here's a cool like cutscene, and here's a little.
And the developer did say it's the end of this trilogy. So this is going to be the last game in this arc, I guess, and then probably going forward after that, there'll be a new Hitman, whatever it is. But the developer did make note of that.
We have, and then this was a cool one that I was I liked. I was actually like really impressed by. I didn't think I was gonna like when I first saw it. Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
And so that was like a Mario kind of vibe. I mean, like literally, I thought of Mario Odyssey or
it
Super
had
Mario
that
64.
Nintendo kind of.
But it looked
vibe
good.
and
It
look.
looks good. I think it actually could be really good.
So
I mean,
shout out to anybody. Did you guys see on Dr. Disrespect's either his stream or his Instagram where he's got a controller and he's watching the event? And I saw a clip on his Instagram where he's pretending to play this specific game, Astro's Playroom, and he's like super overreacting to it, enthusiastic. He's looking all over the place and he's all excited and happy. It was freaking so hilarious. Check that out on his Instagram. Go to Dr. Disrespect's Instagram, watch him pretend to play that game. It was freaking gold.
it looks good though. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like okay, overreaction taken out of the equation. Like it's still, dude. It looks like a solid game. It looks like,
Yeah.
even though it's gonna be super core PS5, PlayStation, Sony. Literally the coins you collect have the PlayStation logo on them.
Yeah,
So
it kind of
it's-
reminded me of like Sonic or
Well, that's what I'm
Monkey, or
saying, like,
Monkey
yeah,
Ball.
yeah,
You
like-
said Monkey Ball.
yeah,
It kind
that-
of had that Sega vibe.
Yes, it
kinda
did. It definitely did. That's-
Nintendo graphics, but Sega gameplay maybe.
and I'll say Nintendo graphics in a very good way, because I know Nintendo graphics in a lot of senses can be very lacking depending on the title, but usually for their first party titles, the system is designed to handle those graphics and work at a very good rate. It makes them look good. It makes them pop, and I think they did a good job with that for Astro's Playroom for sure.
So I'm gonna let him talk about this next game because he was pretty blown away by it.
Oh, the little devil inside. So that was it was like this cell shaded.
Blocky, like a little
blocky.
bit blocky.
You know what
not Minecraft blocky, not that level, but kind of cell shaded, but a little bit of blocky.
Yeah.
Kind of not anime, but kind of a. Oh, we got my brother's over here taunting us.
He's taunting us right now.
Dan, you want to get on the camera?
No.
Say hi to
No.
everybody.
Yo, we're gonna order from Texas instead.
All right,
there
I'm
he is,
down.
There he is. Oh, there's Dan. He actually.
What are you drinking, Dan?
Yeah.
Mini beer review.
Miller
Miller,
Lite,
classic.
the
It's good for keeping yourself, somewhat
Fit,
lean.
unlike this.
Yeah, we're working on a bulk. He's more working on the the trim look. All right, so this game really, I'm gonna be honest. When I first saw it, when the first maybe 30 seconds, like a little bit under a minute, I was kind of like, I don't know. And I don't really, and even now, there's definitely some questions still in my mind as far as like the direction that the game goes in. But I
we need to see what the gameplay is going to ultimately end up being.
But based on what I saw, I loved it. I thought it looked so good. It had this like.
Here's what I'll say. In my opinion, that is the most anticipated game that I saw revealed, that we've never heard about, that surprise. To me, that was the most anticipated surprise. Like, I'm super anticipating that game. Looks super good. I'm looking forward to that game. In terms of games and new IPs that we've never seen, I'm more pumped for that than I am probably anything else that they unveiled. I just want to throw
that's
that
a lot,
out there.
dude. Yeah, that's a pretty heavy statement right
Yeah.
there. Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know that, like I said, I don't know that this is the number one. I think the number one for me would be the game with the astronaut. I'm sorry, what was it?
Man, let me look through my notes.
And now
That was
it was something what was it? I don't think it's even on this page. I think it's right. Yeah, I think it's somewhere.
Returnal.
Returnal. So that's my number one. But I'd say if I had to give a number two, it's going to be this game. And I'll tell you why. It had great cel-shaded graphics. It looked, yet again, very aesthetically pleasing. But the thing I'll say, too, the combat system looked awesome. I mean,
It looked very varied.
And it looked like there was kind of like a lot going on there, and you could kind of
swords and bombs and guns later on.
Yep.
They showed a gun.
So I think that you're going to have that kind of like Zelda equipment and new acquired item type thing where it's relevant to the stage that you're taking on or the boss that you're fighting, which I think is really cool. I think any game, anywhere from like Hollow Knight to Zelda, you have that element in the game where you get new gadgets, new equipment. That's always really cool. And I think they did a good job at executing that in this game from what we saw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I gotta be honest, man. I'm actually really excited for that game.
Yeah, I was definitely like, that's the type of game where unless they come out with a video or something showing off that the gameplay doesn't look anything like that trailer, I'm definitely getting that game.
Me too. Yep.
Like, it looked like they had some stealth elements.
So you're getting the PS5 then?
Ooh, I guess I'm.
See,
that's true. Oh,
He
so
does
this
work
is an
on some-
ongoing thing. If you've watched the episodes, I don't know if I'm just going
cracking
PC
another
for a
beer,
while.
by the way.
Yeah, I think I said I was drinking this. I don't know if I'm going PS5 because here's the thing. Long story short, I decided this go around because of work, life, everything going on that I wasn't going to buy all the systems because I didn't have the times to warrant, making that purchase for everything. So I bought an Xbox, stuck with that for years. Later on, got the Nintendo, loved that. And then I was a late adopter for the PS4, and I was a very happy late adopter because there were so many amazing exclusives
Yeah,
out.
there's a lot available at that
And
point.
they're all like $10, $15. And in my case, shout out to my uncle, Gamer Shuck State, at Instagram. So Gamer Shuck State, look him up. He's a big Sony dude. And he has like every major exclusive for the PS4. So he just lets me borrow them. So pretty much I bought the PS4
and got free games.
Yeah. And I can just play all these amazing games. So like for me, being a late adopter paid off so well for me.
Yeah.
That if I'm going to be an early adopter, I really need to decide who I'm going to do it with. And I may just go PC.
He's into more like he needs to feel like there's a connection, a chemical romance, if you may, and like between him and the console. He doesn't like to just shack up for a night. He wants to know that they're in it for the long haul. He wants to know that there's going to be an investment and that they're going to take care of him. And that means the titles. And, I know he's a sensitive guy. So a lot of that
I really don't know what he's talking about at this point. He's kind of lost me, but
I mean, I don't agree, but no, I mean, but I'm in the same boat. You have to have a reason to buy the console.
Well, what I'm saying is I used to buy them all. Day one, dude. I used to buy them all day one, but as life, you get a girlfriend, you get,
a job, a life,
bills, like all these things are happening, and it's like it's tough to justify buying everything day one.
Yeah.
So it's as much as I will acknowledge that Sony has great exclusives, they have great stuff coming out. I know, like at the end of the day, I'm kind of like an Xbox dude, and now they're putting out everything on PC. I've been wanting to get a PC anyway, so I feel like it makes more sense for me to invest into a PC. And it doesn't take anything away from the PS5, and I'm not going to say I won't, but at this point right now, I might be happy to be a late adopter because for me, being a PS4 late adopter was such a great move for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's fair, but based on what we have so far, it seems like there's a good lineup going forward. I mean, obviously, some of these titles aren't going to be like available right off the bat. This is stuff that's going to come in 2021, 2022, even for some of those titles. But either way, it looks like they have a very good lineup so far, excluding maybe some titles. The high school game, I'm not really
hating hard.
But
maybe you're going to get some hate in the comments for your stand on this game.
Well, I know this one will not get me a lot of hate, and that's NBA 2K21, which they tease. I've never been a 2K guy personally. I have a ton of friends who play this religiously, and this is the only game every time, and they spend the majority of their time playing this because I feel like between all the people I have on my friends list right now, it's either 2K or Warzone. So, I mean, like right now, that's kind of what it looks like.
So it's just going to sell no matter what.
I think
it could be a bad game, it would sell.
I think that's the thing, is right now, just because the place that 2K is at and how well it's been, like how well it's done amongst their core fan base and even kind of outreach beyond that, their success has been so major that this game really could be a flop, and I think it would still do well, like sales-wise. So,
well, even someone like me, like I'll be honest, man, when I was young, I love sports games, like all of them, dude, like basketball, Madden, racing games. I was so into all those games growing up. I don't know what happened. Somewhere in my teens, man, I don't have any motivation, and I'm not taking it away from anybody who's into them, but for whatever reason, I'm not motivated to buy Madden. I am not motivated to buy these sports games.
I did get Madden 2020, and I'll say it was good, but I definitely, even playing it then, I feel you 100%. I mean, there's definitely less
even
motivation.
Racing games, man. Like, don't get me wrong. Like Forza Horizon kind of drew me in.
The only thing I have on my racing list right now that I enjoy playing is Mario Kart. Like, everything else is kind of like, yeah, it's all right.
For 20 years.
Yeah, But yeah.
I don't know. But if you're interested in that, you're gonna get new hardware with the new game. It's gonna look better than it's ever looked.
Another really bad game though. Now on the next one on the lineup, I gotta be honest, and I know you felt the same way. So you can say that it's real talk, or you can say that you feel the same and it's a mutual thing.
No, I'm kind of with you.
It's pretty awful looking. I gotta be honest.
I don't know if I would say that.
It is pretty. Yes, it is. It's so bad, dude. Okay, so the next game is Bug Snacks.
I mean, the name's pretty bad.
That's enough of a giveaway where you should know. oh,
this
hey,
might
this
be good
game's-
for little kids, maybe. Or if you have like a really young kid, maybe you want to play something
Yeah, I mean,
family
okay,
friendly.
fine, but Nintendo does that at a much
Way
in a much
higher
better way.
caliber.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, this isn't the kind of
Yeah, it kind of
game
had
everybody
like an
approaches.
Animal Crossing Viva Pinata look to it. Is kind of what I wrote down here. There was an element of like you'd find
You are
fruit.
what you eat.
You are what you eat. You would like find like a strawberry and you eat the strawberry and your arm would become a strawberry.
Yep.
Or so I don't really know. I mean, this might be really cool for kids. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
For the average gameplay, like for the average person, I'm gonna say that this is not. This isn't one for me. I don't think it's one for most people. I don't think that this game
probably unless I have a kid in the next year. But then by then it would be old by the time I have a kid.
Yeah,
old
you're
enough to
not.
play
You're
this.
not getting
So
that
yeah,
game.
I'm probably not getting that game.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Things can change. But
Well, the next game is actually really good. Demon's Souls.
Demon's Souls. So it looks like they're making a remake for the PS5. I'm assuming exclusive. I mean, the first one was exclusive to the PS3, from what I remember. And from what I've heard, it's the same game, just better graphics and maybe a couple new things.
I never got into it, man. I've never played Demon's
So
Souls.
I never played Demon's Souls. I've played Dark Souls, and I'm one of those guys where I look at the game, and the art style is so impeccable. Like it's one of the best art styles I've ever seen in gaming. And I bought it. I bought Dark Souls 3, and I probably put like 10 hours into it, and I'm just this is a preference thing, I guess, but you could blame me because I probably haven't put enough time into it, but it's so difficult, and the gameplay for me could be so unrelenting and unforgiving that to me it's just not my style of game.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you on that. It can become really frustrating.
But I do know it's all about timing, learning that combat system, getting to your bonfires, knowing when to heal, when not to heal. But the game is so unforgiving, and I think that's what people love about it.
Mhm.
But just not me. It's just not my thing.
Yep, I'm in the same boat. I don't know.
And Demon's Souls, I mean, I'm sure this is going to totally excite a bunch of people, and they're going to be pumped about this. But for me, probably not something I'm going to get.
Yeah, I'm actually, if we're talking about games that are going to excite me, this is another one that, not Demon's Souls, our next title, and that is, what was it called? Deathloop. That's what, yeah. So Deathloop looked, in my opinion, I had like this BioShock kind of feeling when I watched that
very
trailer.
Stylized, kind of
cell shaded again,
vibe to it.
Nothing realistic. It's a first-person shooter, but the combat system looks so cool. It looks like you can really kind of take the Assassin's Creed route and like stealthily take out every person and do different kind of assassinations. Gory. It is very gory.
Very gory. But it's in a stylized way, so it's not like disturbing per se, but it's definitely not a kid-friendly game.
No, so it's definitely not a game you're going to want to play with your kids, but as a, if you're sitting there alone, this is a game I think I'm going to really get into. And I don't know whether or not, they're going to go down this route and include a multiplayer, but I can tell you as a game, based on what we had seen, I think if they were to include a multiplayer, I think we're going to get a lot out of that. I think people are really going to gravitate towards that. Yeah. It's definitely a different take. There's a lot of really cool things. You almost have like telekinetic powers. You can like throw people, you can shoot them, you can assassinate, you can sneak, you can just go full on, gun-ho. But I mean,
well, there was an aspect where like it's kind of like you die and you play it again, like Groundhog Day, kind of like, what was that Tom Cruise movie that was really good? I can't remember it, but he ends up it's a sci-fi movie, and he replays it until he can finally like win and survive and not be killed.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I can't remember the name of the movie. Yeah, amazing movie. Get mad at me in the comments because I don't remember the name. But there's an element in the game that looks like there's something where you die and you retry, and then towards the end of the trailer, they show it almost looks like you're playing as the protector. So in the most of the trailer, you're an assassin.
Antagonist. You're playing the antagonist, and then
you're going after someone to kill them, and there's this woman defending that person. And it almost at the end of the video makes it look like you're gonna play as this woman. Maybe there's
a reverse.
Yeah, maybe there's an element of now you play as protector or you play as the assassin.
And they really made an emphasis on the character dying. It literally in the the slogan for the game is like
do it again or whatever. Yeah, something like that.
If all fails, die again or something. So you really, it's I guess one of those games where it's almost like it's not bad if you die. If it doesn't work out the way you want, it's fine. It's kind of like, hey, just keep banging away and having fun with the game. And I like that. I think that anything that's going to motivate a player, regardless of succession or failure, I think that's awesome, man. If you're going to have a good time regardless, I think that's really cool,
Yeah, I agree. The next game. So here's how I want to kind of go into this one. So what I liked about the way they did this trailer is they went out of their way to not make it obvious to what the franchise was.
Mm-hmm.
So you're watching it and it's first person and you're like in the snow, it's winter, and then you're like in a little house in a village. And then slowly over time, you start, so I think there's an old man with a shotgun who fires at you.
So I fixed the camera, by the way, right?
Oh, nice.
We're a little bit more centered, guys. I just
all right.
want to throw that one out there. But okay.
So literally, like, you're in a house and this old man fires at you, and then you guys realize, no, we don't want to fight each other. And then the old man's looking around, he gets attacked by something.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the trailer goes on, they kind of they give you some hints. And then you see the Umbrella logo at one point, and then it's kind of like, oh crap, this is a Resident Evil game.
Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, as the video is going on, eventually at the end they say Village, and then they like peel away some of the characters, and then you see, so it's Resident Evil 8.
Yep.
And they tie that into Village and the spelling of Village, and then under that they put Resident Evil. So it's the new Resident Evil game. It's 8. It looks like it's kind of, what was Resident Evil 4 set in? Was that Spain? What country was that?
I think it was. Yeah.
So it may, to me, maybe I'm wrong, it almost looked like maybe they're going back to the environment, the area. No, not North America, like Europe. The country of Spain.
Oh, you're saying going back to 4? I kind of got the vibe of like a regal, post-apocalyptic.
But here's why I say this, because at the end of the trailer you see Chris, and Chris is old, so this has to be set in the future.
Yep.
And the look of it, the village itself, whereas, it doesn't look futuristic. It looks old weapons, Victorian looking.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, like a regal Victorian kind of.
For me, being somewhat of a Resident Evil fan, you see Chris as an old man, and the environments in the village and everything kind of look like Resident Evil 4. I'm wondering, is this set in the future, but going back to the area where Leon was in Resident Evil 4? And maybe I'm totally off base. But to me, it had that vibe.
Just to include that character, be like, hey, he's still here, he's around, and this is part of the
at
story.
one point, you see what looks like almost like a werewolf, right?
Yeah.
It looks like so maybe they're gonna have like a werewolf, like
vampire hunter kind
Transylvania.
Yeah.
Type of, I don't know.
That would be cool though. I think it'd be good for the series. I mean, doing anything like a little bit different is nice, but if it makes sense, kind of with what you're going for. I mean, essentially, you are fighting in some cases like zombies, in other cases like human hybrid infected people,
or giant bosses that are like the size of buildings.
I think they have a little, they have some room to work with, and I think if they can include that, I think that's cool, man. Something supernatural would be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And maybe I'm way off base with the art, but to me, the look of it kind of reminded me of RE4. So I wonder if it's them going back to this area.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong. For our next game, so this was let's see the name. So it was Pragmata was the name of the game. So
feel about that.
In my notes I put here, so it looks they started it off with there's like an astronaut walking around inside.
No gameplay, by the way. No gameplay. It was all. This trailer was specifically a CGI, like it was a cutscene. That's all it was.
Well, I think a lot of these were, right?
No, I mean, yes, but I mean they had like at least like bits of the gameplay.
Yeah.
In certain cases, and in a lot of other cases, like I mean, even with the with that one game that was that I was saying reminded me of Dauntless. That was like almost all gameplay. It's like next to no trailers. So they've at least included, I think for the most part, a lot of these titles did include some kind of gameplay. So you got to see. This one was no gameplay. It was literally just CGI. So this is entirely up for interpretation.
Well, I think that was kind of maybe a theme of a lot of these games, kind of mysterious. So the game looks like you're in New York City. You're an astronaut walking around. He encounters a little girl. And he's talking to the little girl, and then all of a sudden there's this little cat hologram.
A lot of it. So
there's like a hologram of a cat.
Well, I remember in the beginning of the video, it almost had this like Division style. So I don't know.
Yeah, the graphics kind of remind me of the Division.
When you're walking around, and then like kind of like in the Division where you'd pick up, I think it was like those ROMs, and like it would like emulate an image. And you'd like be able to see certain things, how they played out. You'd see someone die or like certain interactions with certain characters.
Yeah.
It was similar to that where you had these hologram pictures of like people and things happening, and they came up around the girl, and then like you said, like you have this cat, and it comes up, and the girl's next to the cat, but you're able to the cat's skin is like holographic, whereas the cat's interior almost like you're X-raying the cat. So I don't know if that's like a large play element there. I'm not really sure, but
I don't know.
Looks cool. I mean,
and then at some point, they all fly up into the air, like almost like gravity or something, and they're flung up into the air. And then the astronaut grabs the little girl and he's helping her, but then she's kind of helping him at one point.
Yeah,
because it looks like she's got powers.
She looks like she's a robot. I think.
Yeah, maybe she's like a cyborg or a robot or something. But that they did at the end of that video, they put that it was coming out in 2022. So we're not going to see that game for a little while. And maybe that's a good thing, because maybe we'll learn more in between now and then.
That's true. I mean, if we get to see some more of the gameplay and kind of whatever element they're trying to throw into that game, I think it'd be cool.
So for next on our list, it was Horizon, the new Horizon game, Forbidden West. That was the name of the game. So my uncle was a gigantic fan of Horizon Zero Dawn, made by Guerrilla Games, made by the makers of Killzone. So this was kind of a departure for them, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn. It was an open world, third-person shooter, I guess set in like a futuristic America with these cyborg animals that kind of almost look like dinosaurs and stuff, but it's set in the future, so it's kind of sci-fi mixed with kind of like bows and different things, but it's definitely interesting looking. Graphics looked amazing. I have not played this game. I have the game. It's on my list. I have a long list of games I need to play. I've heard only good things about this game. It's one that's on my list. I'll get to it at some point, the first game. But this new one, I think, looks really good. Looks really interesting.
No, it looks actually really nice.
There was a giant mech turtle thing that came out of the water at one point.
Well, I was going to say, I think one thing that struck me is, like, I kind of cool. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but I would say, like, it appeared to me that a lot of the environment was almost like, you know, tranquil. Like, as much as there was these crazy animals and robotic things going all around,
very beautiful, vibrant, colorful,
and interactable, and there was a lot going on, but it didn't seem like there was much worry outside of the actual enemies that you were facing. And you kind of saw at the end that there was almost like this regiment of people that, you know, took control of the animals, were kind of using the cyborgs for their own agenda, and that, I think that's the force that you're fighting in that game. It looks cool though. It looks like, you know, like a nice PvE kind of combat system would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I wrote here was the variety of environments. So you had kind of like underwater gameplay elements.
Like
you had tropical, winter, desert, you know, rock climbing where she's hanging off of a ledge and climbing up. So it looks like there's going to be a good variety of different kind of environments in this game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that was kind of their last big game before they actually showed off the system itself. I mean, again, this is the PS5 event, so they're finally kind of showing off their console. So that was that was kind of where they decided to end showing off their games. And then after that is where they showed off kind of some developers talking about their excitement of what they can accomplish with the system. And then finally showing off what the system looks like.
And everything,
some accessories for it.
Everything that comes with the system.
Yeah.
Seems like that's part of the initial purchase. Like, if you were to buy a PS5, it comes with, you know, whatever's listed. And that was like their own headset, which I thought was really cool, because I'll say this. If I'm not mistaken, PS4 did not have their own headset.
I think they did.
Did they?
I think they did.
I know Xbox does. They have that really shitty mic that breaks every month.
Oh, that
was awful.
No, I want to say my uncle has whatever PS4 headset.
But did it come
headphones
with the purchase of the system?
Oh, no, it didn't come with the system.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
that's what I think. That
no, it came with these, like, one earbud and a mic. That's what the PS4 came with.
Okay, so awful.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It seems like, I mean, at least the way they're pitching it, it seems like off the rip, if you were to buy the PS5, you're getting the headset. There's a control.
That's not what I took.
No, really. I
No,
thought.
no, I think those are
a difference of opinion there, because I thought it would come with.
I don't think so.
Or maybe
I think they're just kind of showing off. Oh, this is what we got. So we got headphones. We got the media remote. We got the new controller. So I mean, maybe I'll be wrong. I would bet a lot of money it's not coming with those headphones. I think they're trying to let you know that they have them,
Okay. I mean, yeah, but
That's how I took
well,
it.
here's I guess why I thought that in a way was that I feel like if you were to drop the system and then you say, hey, like we have these really good headphones. Problem is you have so many competing companies, whether that's Turtle Beach or Astro or any of
Don't
those
buy
other
Turtle
companies.
Beach. At least in my experience, don't buy Turtle Beach.
It can be right.
I've had no luck with those. Don't buy them.
Well, so I mean, whatever it is, I mean, I would just say that there are definitely other companies to compete with. I think a good thing for them is that if they could secure the headphone thing, like so pretty much what I'm saying is if they can secure it in a way where like okay, you buy the system, you're granted the headphones, you're granted the remote. It takes so much of the market away from a lot of those other people because if those headphones work phenomenally, I have no reason to go out and buy another pair of headphones. These PS5 headphones work fucking great.
Yeah.
So, and then now I don't have to buy a pair
But
of
here's the
Astros
thing.
or
I
whatever.
mean, I think whether it comes with it or you have to buy it separately.
It still looks good.
Yeah,
looks
I mean,
good.
because like I'm telling you, I think my uncle bought the PS4 headphones, and I think they were $100, and they're pretty good, and he's very happy with them. They look nice, they sound good. So even if they don't come with it, because I'm gonna be honest, I really don't think they come with it. That's my
Okay.
guess.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard of a console coming out with that, because they always want to charge you extra money. So I just find it very hard to believe that they would give that to you.
I just think with the Xbox, you had that. You had if you bought an Xbox
Well, you had a
One,
little wired one.
yes,
Yeah.
but I'm saying now we're talking about the next gen. So now it's
They're
kind of
not
like
gonna
I
do
feel
it,
like
dude, man,
man,
you're
maybe.
giving them too much
I'm
kudos.
getting
They ain't giving
very
you
hyped.
nothing. Don't listen to
I'm
this
very
man. They ain't
hopeful.
giving you nothing for free. You
I'm
gotta
very
pay.
hopeful.
You gotta pay.
That money. But I will say, regardless whether you're paying or you're not, it did look really good. It looked like their lineup of accessories included with the system. Everything is
They showed off a
aesthetically
camera,
very
a media
pleasing.
remote,
Yeah.
The new controller, which it's gonna have the touch sensitive
HDR camera too, which is cool. I thought that was nice. So you got to figure the rate on that camera is going to be really good. You're
probably
gonna
good for streaming too. Probably, I would assume.
And so I think that might be an incentive for a lot of other people that aren't into streaming already to really kind of put their content out there. And
here's the other thing. So, okay, we're not really talking about the okay, they showed off the system itself. So there's two different versions. There's one that has the disc. There's one that has no disc. I'm assuming that will be less money. That would be the incentive to buy the one without the disc drive. What did you think of the aesthetic look of the system?
I thought it looked really good. I mean, it's a little, I think looking at it at first glance, it's a little weird. I think you look at it and you're kind of like, what? But
I think we all had the same reaction to the Series X too, right?
Yeah, I mean,
the Xbox, we're like, okay, what is that?
What is that, a nightstand? Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, I think.
Is that my Amazon Echo? What is that?
Yeah, like a speaker
a rectangular
or something?
Amazon Echo?
But, I think it looks really cool. I think it's definitely a very different take on a design for most systems. I think they usually go for very, it definitely is sleek, but I think they go for simplified versions. I mean, if you look at the PS4, whether that's the Slim, the original, the Xbox One, Xbox One X, I think it's very much a lot of the same thing. I think they try to keep things simplified. With this, I think they took
a little departure.
Yeah, I think they took a different route.
Wait, look back at the PS3. The original PS3 was kind of an interesting looking system. Kind of looked like I think a lot of people at the time made a joke about a barbecue or like a George Foreman grill. Yeah. Like it looked like a George. So I think they're kind of back at that PS3 era, like experimental. Like let's just go for something that looks different.
I think it's cool though.
We've seen a bunch of memes where it's like a little Wi-Fi. It's a Wi-Fi router with like two
envelopes on the side. Like so because like there you have that like white because it's like this white sheen shell almost that goes around the system, and it's almost like the internal console is wrapped. And but I will say it has a very beyond all else, I think it really has a very futuristic look to it. I think it's very different. But
I wonder if the little, let's call them bat ears or whatever those things are that stick. I wonder if that's the antenna for Wi-Fi reception.
That would be cool. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, but that would be cool. Maybe there's an actual purpose for that aesthetic look.
But I think all in all, the console itself looks great. The lineup of games as a whole look really good.
And the event. What do we think about the event as a whole?
That's what I think that they did a great job at really conveying the message that, hey, we're going to really break a lot of these barriers that already exist for gaming. We're going to really make, a huge array of different titles that may or may not be exclusive, but you're going to have a great experience playing on the PS5 with. And I think that they just really executed it very well. I'd say that if you look back, I mean, maybe outside of one or two titles, there's nothing really I'd like to change about that. I think.
Yeah, I would say as an event, if I was to like review it, I'm kind of against numerical scores, but I would say maybe don't open up with Grand Theft Auto 5, a 10-year-old game. And then if you just maybe opened up, what was the second game we spoke about that they opened? The Spider-Man game. Open up with the Spider-Man game. Then maybe I feel like they messed their opening up, but everything else, they did a great job. They're kind of
Except
showing
for the
you.
dinosaur high school game.
Yeah. I mean, I think their message was kind of where experimental were willing to try.
Well, maybe a little
things.
too experimental with that one because
yeah,
that was rough. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to defend it. I definitely didn't think it looked good. It looks pretty freaking weird to me, but maybe.
Hey, it could be.
The,
it
My
could be
Little
amazing.
No, but what do they call them? Pony Bros? No, what are they? There's a term for like people that adult fans of My Little Pony. I can't remember the name of them though. You tell us in the comments. But overall, great event. System aesthetically looks cool, looks interesting. I think it's a smart move putting out a disc-based and non-disc-based version right at the beginning, because that if the non-disc comes in at a lower price, which I think it obviously has to, now you have that entry base that's a little bit lower price, and there's a lot of people that don't care about the discs. So anyway,
collection or library purposes.
Yeah, they don't want to sell the game or lend it to someone. They don't care. They just want it to be associated with their account when they buy a game. So it works for them. They'll save a little money. The controller looks good. The accessories look good. And I think the event as a whole was very good. Here's what I'll say. I've seen a bunch of people, I mean, the console wars never end. You always have the Sony ponies and the Xbots. You have them going head to head. I love my system. Your system sucks. I've seen a bunch of people saying that, oh, well, this event and this reveal is so much better than the Xbox reveal. Like, Xbox had a little tiny video that was at the Game Awards that showed off their system. It was not an event. They didn't have a dedicated event for their system.
Nope.
They kind of just showed off what the system looked like, and it was a quick little video. So to compare the two is not fair. You have to wait for Xbox to actually have their presentation, whether it's
and unveil titles and unveil so much more.
They have it. So you're comparing apples to oranges. You have to wait to see what Xbox does. Their little 5-minute video showing off what their system looks like, and then later on having people come and look at the system physically in person. It was not their event. Let's wait and see what their event is, and then we'll critique it, and then we'll compare it. But I feel like that's a totally apples and oranges comparison. I think the PlayStation event was amazing. I thought it was great. I think they did a great job. Again, aside from the opening game, I think they hit a freaking grand slam. I think they did a great job. I mean, that's pretty much the biggest critique I can come up with, is that your opening was a little weak. That was about it.
And then I think everything else really, I think they kind of compensated for whatever they lost in that opening. I think they, like I said, the title lineup was so good to the point where it's like you almost forget about the fact that happened. It was that good where you had so much more content there. And, I'll leave this as a closing thought. I think for all of you people that are in disbelief, that maybe are part of the console wars and you don't believe in buying a PS5, as a person who's been a very core Xbox guy for most of my life, I can tell you there's a lot to be played. There's so much good content out there that is just exclusive for the PS5. We'll wait to see what titles really define themselves in that way, and we're not going to know until maybe a future date. But I will say for right now, based on what we're seeing, if we were to just go off the idea that it is all going to be exclusive, it's definitely worth the purchase. I think that's really pretty much it for this video. We hope you guys enjoyed the content. We hope you guys enjoyed kind of the review and the summary breakdown for this event. We really had a great time watching this event.
We did.
And if like I said earlier, if you haven't watched this event already, by the way, there's a car pulling in. We're outside. We're losing a lot of daylight here. We were trying to make this video.
The lighting's like
we're starting to lose something there, but we just wanted to leave off with a big thank you. And as a reminder to all you guys that haven't watched this presentation, please go watch the presentation, because as much as you can sit here and listen to us yammer on about a bunch of things that we felt, it's important that you guys actually go and see it for yourselves, and maybe that'll change your mind if you haven't thought about buying the system already. Otherwise,
also a reminder. So the giveaway.
Well, I was gonna say, so we wanted to kind of just recap. If you guys are interested in getting a new PS4 controller, we are going to be doing a giveaway. And so, like I said earlier in the video, if for whatever reason you missed that, I'm telling you again now, if you want to get that PS4 controller, go down, hit the sub button, then go a little bit below that, hit the comment button, and leave us anything. Just so long as the word controller is somewhere in that sentence, you will be entered into that giveaway. We're looking to reach 100 subscribers. If we get to that checkpoint, we will be doing that giveaway. We'll look through. Like I said, it's based on random. Hopefully, you guys make it in.
But you got to sub, and you got to like the video, and you got to comment. Well,
You don't
actually,
have to like the
you don't even.
video.
Yeah, actually, yeah. You don't need to like the video. You just got to sub and
You
comment.
can hate the video.
Yeah. Dislike the video if
you
you'd
can
like.
dislike it. But just so long as you leave that comment, you're part of that sweepstakes for that new PS4 controller. And we'll be in contact with you. And until next time, guys, it's been really good. I hope you guys are cracking one, sitting back and enjoying yourself. Beers and Boss Battles out. Dope.